Hey everyone, this is Nakshan, and welcome to the Scatter Hoard, where we try to put complicated ideas in a nutshell. An existential crisis is triggered when we identify an underlying lack of meaning and purpose to life. We just can't see the point of it all and fall into a funk because to tie our shoes, eat breakfast, or wash the car one more time just seems absurd. It's a relatively new condition because for most of human history, people have been caught up in either the struggle to get their basic needs met, find something to eat or die, or so embedded in their cultural religious worldview that the question of individual purpose had no meaning. Your role was defined by the group and the reasons for your actions unexplored. But for the modern human living in conditions that transcend subsistence living, existential crises are what underlie and drive so many of our daily struggles. The Renaissance and then the Industrial Revolution in Europe not only increased commodities and access to wealth and mobility, they slowly and inexorably severed the connection between humans and what has been traditionally called the spiritual world. Experimental science, with its emphasis on the observation and measurement of matter, grew out of this historical process. The need for God, moral edicts from on high, and access to the spiritual experience waned as we gained understanding, mastery, and control over the physical world. Modern science can peer into the tiniest spaces of the atomic realm and hurl machines outside the solar system. It can manipulate matter to a degree that the ancient pietists and alchemists could not even imagine. But for some, it has also created the untenable questions: so what? And is there an ultimate reason for existence? Existential philosophers believe there's no point to anything besides what you decide it is. Existentialism as a philosophy and cultural movement arose from the ashes of two world wars and the advent of the postmodern age. Philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, and Albert Camus refined an outlook that focused on the agency of the individual rather than external guides to morality and behavior. It removed the locus of control from God and put it into the hands of the individual man and woman. It challenged people to live authentically, with a commitment to choosing their own thoughts, speech, and actions based on their unique understandings of the world and their places within it. Sartre famously declared, "Existence precedes essence," meaning there is no thing in itself. There's only one's experience of it. Nothing has an objective essence. Rather, we define its essence by experiencing and then labeling it. Individuals do not need to get bogged down in cultural expectations, roles, or stereotypes because they're all made up anyway. The notion of the other is important to the existentialist. Each person has his or her point of view, and other people have their points of view, and everyone is constantly creating their own existential meaning by negotiating and mediating with other people who are doing the same thing. There are other people and situations that intersect with our own perspectives, but there's no transcendental other that supersedes and subsumes this process. There is no God, no spirit that balances matter. Human consciousness is seen as rooted in biology, and there's nothing else. Existence is just an accident, and if it has any meaning, it is only created through the efforts of the individual. This conclusion was seen as liberating to existential philosophers, who wanted to free individuals from constraining artificial constructs and allow each of us to choose our own destinies. However, for many people, this perspective leads instead to feelings of dread and angst, the existential crisis, leaving them to ask, so, really, what is the point of all this? And if they're being honest with themselves, they discover they have no ready answers, which can be kind of devastating. This often triggers a wave of activities designed to distract the mind from such morbid thoughts. But sooner or later, they'll be caught off guard in a quiet, pensive moment and think them again. Ugh. But there is a way forward and out of this angsty place. A resolution to the existential crisis that doesn't demand the refutation of the existentialist perspective. In part 2, we'll discuss how to relate to existentialism as a vehicle for liberation, rather than a fall into a dank hole that darkens the mind and deflates vitality. So please stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.